Chair, so at this time, we'll just call the meeting to order.
Yeah, we'll call the meeting to order.
Mike's on. And we'll ask our city manager if he'll give us roll call to confirm we have quorum.
I'll go ahead and get going. So, Chairman or Vice Chair Vento.
Here.
Let's see, Commissioner Bennett.
Here.
Chairman Sullivan is not present tonight, and Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
And Commissioner Howard is not here tonight.
Next one is the pledge of allegiance. For our city manager will lead us.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chair, first thing we have on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment before the Charter Review Commission?
Yes, I will.
You are up.
So if you just, when you get up to the microphone, if you'll give us your name and your address, and you can go ahead and commence with your comments.
My name is Brian Lugo. I live at 6371 County Road 352, out behind the Circle K, off of 21 up there. I just found out about the meeting a couple days ago. Used some of my abilities to go through the charter, the current one, and I don't know, I gave it to, I think, Jamie,
Yeah,
a list
we have it.
of stuff that I found in the charter that probably should be addressed. I don't know, you want me to go through each of them, or?
It's your 3 minutes, or whatever you want to do with the comment, the time that you have.
I don't know, there's some amendments I proposed, and then there's a bunch of stuff that probably should be addressed at some point. The really big one, I was at the last Board of County Commissioners meeting, and the meeting prior to that, July 28th, there's a real serious issue with vote counting of the commissioners, and I noticed in the Keystone Charter, it's just yays and nays. There's no way to tell which person said it, and they referred me to the video, and all you can see is 3, but the meeting minutes actually say 5 votes counted, but all you can see and hear is 3. So I think that should be something that's addressed in the charter that says like a roll call count or something like that to avoid that kind of situation. Anyway, that's all I've got. If you guys want to ask me any questions or anything about whatever, I'm more than willing to. Like, I'm not city technically, but I want to help. So
Thank you.
Mr. Lugo's document has been uploaded onto the agenda file.
Okay.
And Wendy made a couple, at least one hard copy, if folks would like a hard copy before they leave to look it over. Cool.
Next come up, we have your consent agenda. A copy of the minutes from August 10th, 2026 were disseminated electronically. If everyone's had an opportunity to review those minutes, at this time it would be appropriate if someone made a motion to approve unless there's any amendments.
You said we got those ones electronically?
They were
Wendy,
part of the agenda packet.
Yeah.
and Wendy emailed them out.
Alright, motion approved.
So because you're chair,
I can't do it.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the last day of the meeting.
so Commissioner Bennett makes a motion
I'll just second it.
and second. And then if there's no further discussion, you can call for the vote.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's okay, all in favor, just signify by saying aye.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And it passes 3-0. So, moving on to your next agenda item is the possible charter amendments.
And I'll just jump in here. I sent out an email, gosh, maybe a little less than a week ago. What I did in the last meeting, y'all had identified, and we appreciated that 2 amendments that had passed in 2023 did not make it into the charter or be codified in the Muni Code version of the charter, though I will reemphasize, as of the January 1st, 2024, they were effective as our charter. And so what I did, I took the language in the copy that we had, I edited it in the version that was uploaded, edited it in the version of the charter that was uploaded to the agenda, but I also emailed out and courtesy copied you all. And so that was, off the top of my head, it was an amendment about the establishment of purchasing thresholds in section 4, so that was edited.
Yep.
And then I'm just
Section
looking-
15.
Yeah, oh, section 15, the censure policy, which ballooned our charter by another page. But those were in strike and add format, so you could see what was taken out by the amendment and what was added in an underlined format. We still have not found a copy of the term limits from 2007, though before the meeting, Rich indicated that we likely can go back and get signed copies from the supervisor of elections, hopefully for all 3 of these.
Okay.
And so we'll work on that tomorrow, reach out to them, and if we can get those
we
documents,
can go ahead and
get that
submit 'em.
documentation.
Right.
Well, we'll get them submitted, certainly, once we get the signed versions, we'll get them submitted to Municode. I'll take this version and update it with the 2007
Okay.
language and email it out. Wendy, right after the last meeting, reached out to Municode. The way that our package works with them is throughout the year, through about a 6-month period, we submit all our changes, and then twice a year, they go through and codify everything up in the online version of
Okay.
Municode. So October is gonna be our next opportunity for any bits of changes that we submit to actually be codified.
Okay.
And so what I recommend is y'all just work off the updated copy.
Yeah,
that I gave you.
because that October's kind of pushing it.
Certainly, we don't need to wait until October.
Yeah,
Just,
no, I agree with you 100%.
So-
Okay.
That's all I had to update the commission at the front.
Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate that.
Or as I recall, Ms. Jackson, you mentioned last time you may have some language recommendations or changes. I don't know if anybody else had anything. So really at this point, it's kind of up to y'all. If y'all had any proposed amendments or issues to kind of open up, discuss, propose, kick around.
You care if I start?
No, go for it.
All right,
Sally, put the microphone, yeah.
And make sure you got a green light.
Yes. Okay, first one would be section 3. So the charter says that no suit may be maintained against the city for certain negligence unless written notice is given to the city clerk within 30 days. And that this limitation prevails over other limitations concerning actions against municipalities. So Florida establishes a statewide framework for tort claims against municipalities, including different claim presentation requirements. So is this something like, should it be replaced with something simple like claims against the city shall be governed by the Constitution and general laws of the state of Florida, or do we want to keep it the same way?
This was put into place to make it more restricted, and it's really just a notice requirement in the event that, if there was something where the city was gonna admit liability up front, they could work to resolve it. It's more to give the notice, there's a notice requirement of at least 6 months that falls under statute. I don't know that you wanna change this, you would just
Right.
make sure that the 6-month, statutory requirement, I think it's under 768, is followed.
Okay, yes. All right, that was one thing I saw.
No, it's a good thought.
Then, this is just kind of some language. In section 6 and 26, there's an inconsistency. In 6, it says there may be the offices of city clerk and treasurer, but in 26, it says there shall be a city clerk. So I don't know if we want to fix that, so they both say it's required, or if we,
I think because we're so small, I would say it should probably remain permissive at the direction of city council. Let me get to 26 real quick. So for 26, we could change that first shall to a may.
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
but then you want the second shall to remain as far as what the duties are.
Right.
And that, would that require that is an amendment?
Yes.
Is there anything you can do in this that isn't actually, that doesn't have to go before
No.
people?
Oh, did we catch?
Okay, in sections 9 and 10. Section 9 says the affirmative vote of a majority of the members of the city council shall be necessary to adopt any ordinance or resolution or take other official action on behalf of the city, and the vote of the council members shall be taken by yeas and nays and entered upon the minutes. So I know that's what you had mentioned. But section 10 says an affirmative vote of 3 or more members of the council is required to adopt or approve any matter before the council. So those just could have different results. So if you only had 3 members to constitute a quorum, section 9 could allow an action to pass 2 to 1, while section 10 says there have to be 3 affirmative votes. That makes sense? So I don't know which one.
Oh, I see.
We have always operated that it takes 3 votes to pass anything. So like, for example, tonight, if we had 2 members absent, it would still take 3 votes.
So,
Yeah, the question is, should the word present,
Just be deleted.
Right.
just be deleted?
Or, I'm sorry, where is it? in
So it's the very last
Section
paragraph on
9.
page.
Oh, there we go, I got it.
yeah, so I don't know if we wanted to have it say present, I don't know. Or if that's even something we wanna worry about, it's just something.
That's a good thing to address, just, this is how people get sued, this is the misunderstanding. I'm only gonna tell you what we have done, what you wanna recommend to the city council is up to you.
I like that one too, honestly. Clarity is definitely something you want.
The section 10 language that you pointed out, which paragraph is it in section 10?
It's the last one,
Okay.
to go all the
From
way.
Yeah,
the vote
the last
of 3 or
one.
more, okay, so that was, okay, got it.
And
So-
that's the one we've been operating under. So it's
So-
either, you could do it 2 ways. If you wanna do where a 2-1 vote could win, then in section 10, I would add members of the council present, you could add the word present. Or if you wanted to keep it the way things are, then in section 9, in that second paragraph, you could delete the word present.
I mean, I think if it's been 3 members, then it should still stay 3 members.
Yeah, I
don't
agree with
think
you, I
it
was
should
thinking
go
we
to
delete
2
section
to
9's
1.
present, because,
Well, when you look at 10, and at least the way I read, it was important enough where it's actually part of the title. Which is probably why that's why we done it that way.
yeah,
Right.
I say leave 10 alone and modify 9 and take the present out, because then if you modified 10, then you would be allowed to do a 2-1 vote versus having to have 3 affirmatives. And that, I don't think that's a good idea.
In many places and many municipalities, it's that way, and at least the rationale that was explained to me is you don't wanna take advantage of somebody that happen to be out sick or
Right.
truly unable.
Is it redundant? Just it being in section 9?
So 9 really starts with the concept of what your quorum is. And then also, if there was actually a vacancy on council, like if someone stepped down to run under the resign to run law to run for something else, that's what that addresses. And then it talks about what's required to pass an ordinance, resolution, or official matter, but section 10 talks more about just the business of the city.
So I guess if you're in a situation, let's say multiple people have to get reassigned, or for some reason, say 3 people on the council could cause problems. Maybe that's why it's present, just so something can happen.
I would say if we're at that point, we're gonna be driven to a special election. Okay, what else you got?
Excuse me.
Oh, this is just one, cause I feel like, again, you have to be very clear. So in section 10, it also says,
Can I get this
that
paragraph?
It is paragraph. The, fourth paragraph?
Okay.
Down towards the bottom, it says that a majority vote of the council shall be required to find that the absent member's presence is not excused. A reasonable excuse should be accepted by the council. I just, like, it doesn't define what a reasonable excuse is, it's kind of vague, and so I just always worry, you excuse this person for this, but then the next time someone has something similar and it may not, do you know what I mean, if it's not specific, what would be a reasonable
I don't disagree with you.
excuse? I just don't know how you would.
I would
word
say that I was around when this amendment came through. This amendment came through because there was a council member who was missing a lot of meetings. And it was decided that the remaining city council members, in their discretion, had the ability to decide whether or not it was a justified reason to miss the meeting. Like, they were at the point where they were asking me whether or not missing so many meetings constituted an abandonment of the seat.
I just hate that it's so vague.
I appreciate that. I'll tell you that your challenge is if you start defining it, then somebody's
Then
gonna
there's
miss a
gonna be a-
meeting that doesn't meet
yes.
the definition.
Right, there's gonna be a loophole somewhere, yeah. I agree, I just didn't know if we wanted to.
But that's a decision for y'all. I'm just telling you historical, information, that's all.
I don't know what you guys think.
It's vague, but
But do we
I-
want it to
I-
stay vague? You know?
I do agree. The way it is, it gives them, if it's used properly, let me re-say that, if it's used properly and someone is just skipping meetings and say derelict of duty, then it gives the council a way to do something. But it also, with it being vague, it gives the council a way to do something they shouldn't too, kinda. I get you could pick favorites, well, you know, because he's not here and his kid was sick in the hospital, that's reasonable. But the other guy's house burnt down, that's not reasonable. I mean, I see how she's saying it could be construed, but
I think the only way you could fix it really is if you put like a specific amount that you have to be present for, like a number, but then how do you do that?
I think we do
Which
have.
that's in there, so
Yep.
that part of that same amendment was if you're absent from 2 consecutive or 3
Right.
within the 12-month period.
And then the other thing I
But
would.
it says without being excused.
Right.
So it gives it an hour. The one thing I would remind you of is recognizing the council are operating the same situation y'all are, where, you know, you have, if you have a member that's being absent, when the council comes together to make this decision, they're not allowed to talk about it outside of them. So they've got to come in and sit on that dais and discuss, you know, if they're gonna hold somebody accountable for it. So that's the other thing that tries to, I think, would tend to keep the other council members from abusing that power.
right.
Because you gotta do it publicly in front of
And it's
everybody.
gonna be people in here and you're gonna be on video, so.
Just something to consider.
Right, no, I agree.
When,
I mean, we can leave it alone, just.
Well, the interesting thing is 13 years later, since they put that provision in, it hasn't been a problem since.
That is interesting.
That is.
Well,
And
sometimes,
as soon as you take it out, it may become one again. You know how rules are.
Okay, other one is also section 10. Let me see where it's at. It's in the, where's
section is
Section
Section
10.
Yeah, same
Same one.
section.
It just says that it will, where does it start? It says giving notice to each member of the city council in person or at their usual place of residence or business. Does that mean that they like have to hand deliver something to them?
For an emergency meeting, yeah.
So they have to hand deliver, so that can't be
Well, it can be a phone call, but it
email
can.
or electronic, anything?
So that contemplates natural disaster.
Okay.
So in a natural disaster where cell towers down and emails out, electric's out,
Okay.
it's still a requirement that they have to provide notice to the
Okay.
council member to make sure that they can try to attend.
Okay, I just was like, kind of feel like you should be able to email them or something.
I wanna say, I think it was during Irma, I was without internet for 5 days and
Yeah.
power for 7.
Okay,
Can I ask a question?
Only usually during public comment. I would say let the commission review their items that they bring up, and then if they wanna reopen public comment, they can.
It was just for that thing specific.
I'm not sharing.
Well, do you guys mind
No, go ahead. Let him answer.
Your chair's
Right,
your prerogative.
we'll open this topic to public comment, if you
I
wanna.
was just wondering.
But if you come up,
Oh, my
you
bad.
have to come up.
My bad. Brian Lugo from Keystone here. What about options like GMRS radios or ham or anything else during natural disasters?
So there are people that use those, use ham radios and shortwave radios, but that's not a guarantee that our council members will have it. And I don't know how I could predict in the future whether future council members would have it.
Why not just the city buy how many council, five council members, including the mayor? Just buy 5 ham or 5 GMRS radios.
It's probably
There-
easier to just walk to their house.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
We're
That's
on
true.
2 square miles.
Last time-
That's true, but I mean, it's just something to think about. Why not?
Yeah.
We used to have a group that would actually set up shortwave radio in this room.
There we go. And you still see the rating
I
down
think
there.
there's
Thank you, sir.
there's a group in Melrose that does it still.
Section 25. So it talks about codifying ordinances and publishing them in book form, either loosely or permanently bound. Is there, like, 'cause I know that we use electronic, so I didn't know if maybe we replace them specific language, like that medium specific language or something such as published and maintained in a form authorized by law, which includes electronic publication, or if we just wanna keep it as,
I would say in the old days, every time we would update our ordinances, we would get a new ordinance book.
Right.
Same thing with the charter, it would include an update to the charter.
Do we
But you're right, I would say for section 25, we can include electronic format. And some of it was just the cost of printing it, so, when you look at not just the charter, because they would send us the charter and all the ordinances together, the cost was actually more expensive than you would think to print a copy.
so do they still send?
No, they don't do
They
that
don't do
anymore.
that?
I
I
wanna
thought
say,
we had the option for 4 copies a year or something.
maybe, we stopped that probably, we used to keep them right here on the desk. I think we stopped that probably about 7 years ago.
So that's definitely something we should update then and add in
So,
electronic. Yeah.
I think it's
agree.
just cause this was written so long ago,
Yeah.
just little
That's
things like that.
absolutely true.
So like, in a situation like this, when we update the intent, but the intent stays the same, that still has to go for vote because it's changing in the charter.
Every change of a word has to go for a vote.
Sorry for asking the same question. Just wanted to make sure.
We're gonna ask until you really understand. It does fair. It's tough.
And there's one, I think it's just a typo, in section 35. And I don't know if you might have talked about this, it the said board will be report to the city council. I mean, I think it's just supposed to be the said board will report to the city council. Recommend the boundaries of districts and appropriate regulations. That's right.
What do you think, Thomas?
Oh, it's, so it's,
We
like,
can take the word "be" out?
I just think that word, I think it's just a typo,
Yeah.
but if we have to do a whole thing about a typo,
I don't, that I would say is probably a typo, we can ask them to get that out.
yeah, I don't think that's
Yeah, that was.
So a scrivener's error wouldn't have to go back for a vote.
okay.
Okay.
And then.
Out of curiosity, before we move on,
Yeah.
is there any way to look that up to make sure it's a typo, so we don't?
Well, we have to, so there's lawyers that work for Unicode, we'll run it by them, because they're the ones that would make the ultimate call.
Okay, alright, cool.
I would say, since we're on that one, I don't think it's worth going in, but there has been some confusion between, and it might be land development code stuff, but the planning and zoning board actually acts as another named board.
It's the LPA, so the land planning agency, because that's what the statute calls it, is a land planning agency.
If we were forced to go in and make that as an official change, it goes before the residents. Would it make any sense to add both names of what the board acts as into the charter?
We could look at that.
So
I'd say
I would
it's-
propose
it's in
it
our
without-
ordinances.
Okay.
I know our ordinance says that our planning and zoning board serves as the land planning agency. And there's a state land planning agency, which is Florida Commerce. So that's why you have the consistent, like, when I go to Baker County, they call their planning and zoning board the LPA.
But I wouldn't propose it until we were forced to actually take it as a formal amendment.
Okay.
Yeah. Article 12. So, section 39 and 40,
Wait, sorry, one section, 12.
Article 12, right, section 39 and 40, am I in the right spot? Is it just called section 39?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're saying Article 12, government section 12.
Oh, no, no.
So section 39?
Section 39 and 40, so it says that current officers under the former charter will remain until successors qualify, and references the transition to the December 1991 election. So that was like 3 decades ago. I don't know if we, more than 3 decades?
Most charters will keep that language in.
We do.
In case we ever change, like where it would have come in was, the charter question that asked whether or not the mayor should be appointed by the other members of the city council, or whether the mayor is directly elected to that seat. That would be something that you would still, even after, remember, the charter amendment for us right now won't go into effect until January 1st, 2028. You wanna make sure that you don't interrupt the continuity of the elected seat. So we would stick with it for that.
Okay, I just thought it was, wasn't sure, getting that one ago. I think that's mostly what I know.
Good things. Okay. So, as we have those, as Ms. Jackson put the different concepts forward. Because then we're gonna start tracking these probably with like an Excel spreadsheet. Is there any objection to any of the proposed amendments that we've discussed tonight? Just to make sure we're all on the same board so far.
I don't have any objections to them. I agree with all of them.
Yeah, I don't have objections to it.
Okay, great.
So we have consensus.
Did you have anything that you wanted to bring up?
I got a couple of things. First one is a question for Rich real quick, before we go any further, with one of them. Do we have, I know we just did, the governor just did the thing about the NDAs and disclosure. Do we have anything stating like, I'm just using you for example, Jamie.
Please, everybody does.
Okay, if, say a data center wanted to come here and they call Jamie and they say, hey, we'd like to discuss a data center in Keystone Heights city limits. I know, sounds weird. We need you to sign a non-disclosure act for us to talk about this. And then we find out that Jamie's been talking to him about it, and a month before they're like, oh, well, let's try to get this passed through. You see what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying, Rich?
I do. So, what's interesting for us as a municipality is that with the government, the Sunshine Act, we talked about open records and we talked about open meetings. We're not allowed to enter into any NDAs. The only statutory exception to that is economic development councils, which are run by the counties.
Okay.
So when you saw what the governor did, the governor was giving direction to the 67 counties.
Right.
It didn't really affect us.
Didn't really, okay.
So I would say maybe your only two places would be the city of Jacksonville because they're consolidated government,
Right.
and probably Miami-Dade.
Okay.
They have their own separate economic development.
Okay, so there would be a moot point, and he wouldn't be able to anyway.
Correct.
Okay, that was what I want. Okay, so that was what I was wanting to know, because I noticed I didn't see anything in there, so I didn't know if we followed the way it was written, if we followed that.
That's a hot topic right now.
Oh yes, it is, and I actually seen it. I was like, oh, that is a good topic. I'm curious. Not that you do that, Jamie. It was just a question.
Some of it was the way I interpreted it, was to make the public feel better.
Right.
Because like I said, we couldn't do that even if we wanted to.
Which that was my purpose as well, because knowing that Jamie can't do that, not that he would, it just sounds better, or knowing that you couldn't do it, or Wendy, or me, or any of us,
Like Putnam County, they didn't rewrite they don't have a charter, but they didn't rewrite even an ordinance. They just created a policy that if anyone approaches any Putnam County staff or related to a large-scale data center, that they have to notify all the 5 commissioners within 72 hours. So, I would imagine by practice, Jamie would do the same thing.
I mean, I wasn't per se shooting it at data centers. It was just hot topic now as well.
Definitely is.
It was a good example. Was all I was using that for.
Just to be clear, no one has expressed any interest in coming to Keystone Heights on a date.
Yeah. No. It was just.
Not that there's any, however, there's plenty of accusations of Jamie Booth making windfalls of money in this position. And sidebar deals somehow,
There
which
you
I
go.
always find interesting on Facebook.
That's nice and relevant.
Facebook will get you every time. The other thing I had that I was looking at, and I don't know how everybody feels about it, is the 4 years on the Charter Review Committee.
So that's 42.
Yes, it was 42. Just looking, let me flip back to it. Charter Review Commission, there we go. That's right. The Charter Review Commission consists of 5 electors of the city and shall be appointed by the city council at least 12 months before the regular municipality occurring in 2010, at least 12 months before the regular municipal election of every 4 years thereafter. So my question was, what is the limit on that charter? Like, could we say we wanted it every 12 years, or?
You could, there's no limit, there's no requirement that you have a charter review commission, I'll tell you that. I think the state does it every 10 years. I wasn't around when that provision came in. If I had to guess, like Clay County does theirs every 4 years, I would imagine we were just following Clay County.
We were just following suit.
I sat in a presentation at the Florida League of Cities conference a week and a half ago, whatever it was. It was interesting. They were talking about charters, and they said the average for municipalities in the state of Florida is every 10 years.
Yeah, and that was kind of, so I had wrote down 12, but yeah, I see what you're saying is 10. I'm
just telling you what the data point
No.
they announced.
And that was one of my 2 numbers that I wrote down. I put 10 to 12. And cause that's kinda how the standard goes, I don't see. It doesn't seem like we have the need for an every 4-year charter review in this small of a town. Granted, we did catch a couple of things, or a few things so far, but my thoughts were, do we really have that major of changes that need to happen to the charter that we need to do it every 4 years?
Well, let me throw out another supporting concept for you.
Okay.
The city council can amend the charter anytime.
Anytime.
They don't have to wait for a charter review commission.
Right.
So,
And
if you find one of those things, you could always come and ask the city council
to do a special meeting or something like.
yeah, normally you would
Do a special
recommend,
review?
like what we're gonna go through the process. You're gonna recommend a resolution that has title and ballot language.
Right.
And then if the city council approves it, then it would be put on the next.
Move forward,
regular
go on
election.
ballot. Okay. Yeah, and that was my thoughts. You know, we've already got the language to fix the problem anyway with the city council. Why are we going through, especially right now? I mean, I don't know what it costs for us to be here and do all of this, but with the way the taxes and everything's going, the governor's trying to up it. That's another place we could cut that really is, I'm not gonna say useless, but because it's not, but I don't think it's useful to do it every 4 years. I think we should look at extending the time, in my opinion.
Okay.
Any of y'all, what do y'all think about that? I mean, most places are 10 years, and we're doing it every 4. That's a lot of extra paperwork, that's a lot of extra employees doing stuff, that's a lot of extra.
It was not an insignificant effort to find you all.
Right, I remember that, you know what I mean? And
When
it's-
I was doing some research, I saw too that.
Yeah, most places-
But 4 years.
No, they don't, and I was like, why are we spending essentially the taxpayers' money to do this every 4 years? Most places do it every 10, and the charter and the council members can fix the problem anyway if me or you and the public see it. And what if I think it's kind of redundant that we do it every 4 years, in my opinion.
Well, just like we did when the guard asked us to remove their seat from the airport authority.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't wait for another charter review.
Right.
We just.
You just did it. You just fixed the problem. Right. And that was kind of my thing. It seems redundant to me for us to do it every 4 years. A waste. So
So are you saying?
I would like to
10?
propose that we change it to 10 years. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I just,
Well, I have a question. So, over the past 2 charter reviews, were there many changes made then?
I wanna say we normally start out with 6 to 10 concepts, and then it usually boils down to around four changes. And they're relative, like, 1 year, airport to airport was one of them. I mean, the censure issue, that was kind of a bigger one. The one to make the mayor, appointed by council, not directly elected, that one failed. There was one, I think before I got here, about making each of the seats into district representation, not at-large representation, that one failed. So there's certain things that don't pass as well.
and then too, if you want to fix something, you can always come to the city council meeting and bring it up. Say, hey, section 42, charter review section A, I see this. Can we look at fixing it? And I'm sure with the city council members and the mayor and all we've got now, that sure, let's look at what you're talking about. Hey, that's a great idea, let's fix it. So I really just, to me, it seems kind of redundant for us to be here every 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, and in that sense, yeah, I agree, it should be a little bit more lax. But
Right.
like, it's like, at least every 10 years.
Right,
And there
right,
might be
yeah.
a case that
Right.
city council might want a charter review because some big changes happened, and so give them the power to enact them.
Out of curiosity, could we put,
I actually have the term limits one.
Oh, do you? Sorry, we
y'all found
just
something?
around the 2007 term limit signed copy.
Perfect.
That was
Um,
the Ross thing.
Rich, the other question I got with that is, if the city council wanted to do a charter review commission, could we put a provision in there that they could say, okay, look, we have a bunch of stuff that needs to be fixed, instead of us sitting down and doing it, could we appoint, like y'all did now for the normal, we need to do, a city council, charter review commission.
So at the council's discretion or every 10 years.
Right, something like that. What do y'all think about that? That way, if the council says, okay, we've had a lot of changes in Keystone, we need to update like 10 of these things, let's get a charter review commission in 5 years and do it. But if they don't do it, they shall do it every 10 years at minimum, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
And that's what I was saying, but if.
So then, you just need to make sure the wording with that then, so say
Right.
they do one in 5 years, is it still the next 5 years they're doing, or is it 10 years from the last one?
That's a good
It's
point.
usually 10 years from the last.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was saying, in
As
10
long as we
years,
don't put something
then it
in
resets the
the-
counter to 10 years, and then in 10 years, you shall, again.
So we'd basically be rewriting section 42A.
Yes, that would probably be a complete revision, wouldn't it, 42A?
We'll take a look at that.
Ish, I mean, there would be a little bit you would change, okay, yeah, let's definitely take a look at that one, if y'all are good with that.
I'm fine with
You good with it, Chris? Alright, cool. Alright, that's what I had.
that. I do have one question.
Okay.
Just a question. Whenever we propose changes, and it's going to go, like on a ballot or whatever, do we, or not we, but does information go out to the public kind of in like plain language, like what, an explanation of what we came up with, or is it just what's going on the ballot?
So in the past, we depend on you as the charter review group as well as the city council to educate the public on what it's about,
Okay.
How do we do that? Like,
just talking to people.
okay, so there's not like anything that's
So
published anywhere that says what our rationale would be, that's just,
doesn't mean that there can't be. I would say that there hasn't been in the past. I would say that probably the thing to be careful about is you wouldn't want, just like the property tax reform. You don't want to be using any sort of taxpayer funds to either promote or oppose a charter review amendment. Because like, for example, the censure procedure wasn't supported by everyone on the charter review committee. So there were some people out there that were lobbying against it. Now, majority of the group passed it, and then the majority of the city council put it on the ballot. So, even though what we're talking, honestly, I don't think you're gonna get any pushback on any of the things we've talked
No.
about tonight. Just understand that there's a possibility that if you come up with a different idea, that could happen.
Okay.
I know sometimes going in, if you're not really sure the reasoning behind it, you're kind of like looking at it, I don't know, so.
So we spend a lot of time on ballot language. The title can only be 15 words, the description can only be 75, so it has to be concise. And we work really hard to make sure that it exactly captures what the change is.
And Phil, I think we sent out examples, or I'm pretty sure I sent out an example from all the actual ballots and what the language
Yes.
was,
Yes.
and you can get a feel for it. I thought they, since of that group since 2007, they all seem pretty clear. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And we work really hard to stick to the single subject idea. Like when you see the statewide constitutional amendments, sometimes they're a little squirrely where they do 2 or 3 things and only describe half of them and kind of
Right,
not the way it should be, but sometimes there's good reasons.
yeah, okay.
And then also there's the more detailed version is in the resolution.
Yes.
It's announced in the newspaper. Well, no, I'm sorry, the resolution doesn't have to go out. Do these have to go announced in the paper before the city council?
No, but they're in the agenda packets and there's 2 hearings. There's 2 public
So there's
hearings.
public hearings on it.
Did you have anything?
The only other question I had maybe was a little bit of, maybe Rich can clarify it for me. Section 39, the present officers to hold office until successors qualify.
So, yeah, so that, the concept is if something changes, I don't expect that it's gonna change this go around. But if something changes where we either switch to district representation, or if you change the terms, like, I think that was something y'all talked about last meeting or meeting before. You change the length of the terms, or if you change how they're staggered, you can't negatively affect somebody that's already been elected to a seat under one set of rules with the new set of rules.
Right.
So they have to be able to serve out the original set of rules that existed when they were first elected. So you
My
keep
other,
that language in.
well, and that language, I think I'm looking at the other side of it, of the language. So on that, say that the mayor is in office and she's on her last term that she can serve and nobody wants the job. And
We will be taking you out to lunch.
no, we won't. Don't start that. No, but I'm just saying. You understand what I'm saying? So, at that point, by Florida law, isn't she only allowed to hold stay in office 12 years?
It's not a Florida law. It's governed by, your charter with home rule authority actually has more power than what the state statute does.
Okay, so then the state statute, if by chance, could she get stuck, is kind of what I was asking, and outstay that term? How would that work?
If the statute changed, that would be possible, but, home rule is a constitutional right to municipalities. I would imagine that would still govern.
Okay.
Like you have some, I'm trying to think of different offices, state attorneys that have been in for 16 years, they don't have term limits. Sheriffs, same things.
Right.
So because of those, but then if you look at Jacksonville, your constitutional officers, again, because they're a charter city, consolidated government, they're termed out after 8 years.
Okay. Alright. Alright, let's see.
So it's the idea that you get to decide what's best for you. So because of that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. My question was, what do we do is there anything in there that if she does wind up staying, there's nobody to run against her, then what do we, or run?
She wouldn't qualify for the seat,
So then what, is she vacated, and then what do you do?
if it's vacant, then the remaining council members would select the mayor.
Would have to just it would go back to that rule, whatever, I don't remember what section that was, but that one.
Ray, remember in that situation?
Right. Okay. The one other thing that I saw that I want to discuss, and I can't remember where it's at, I thought I had it written down, but it's not. The part about, if you're the mayor, you can be a council member, but for the 12 years, but if you're a council member for 4 terms, you can't be the mayor afterwards. I'm trying to remember which one that was. It was, or that's the way I read it. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to remember which one that is.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Are you saying like the mayor can't do her terms and then come back and do the city council?
I thought it said that you couldn't serve your terms as a city council and then be the mayor. Or was that backwards? I thought I wrote it down. Let's see.
I know what you're talking about, I can't find it myself.
I thought I had it wrote down which section it was, and apparently I didn't write that one down.
Is it one of the 23?
Section
Well, if it was 2023, it would be in this, Clark County, this one.
Oh, you know why? Cause it's in the ordinances, it's not in the charter.
Ah,
So no person shall be eligible to qualify for the election of city council of Keystone Heights who has served as a council member for 4 consecutive terms, last passed. This shall not apply to council member who has served in the capacity of mayor for the terms. So if you've been mayor, you can go back
to
and
the city
serve
council.
as city council.
But if you've been city council, you can't run for mayor.
Well, then it says, no person shall be eligible to qualify for the office of mayor who has served 4 consecutive terms as mayor last passed. So both are termed out, but they can alternate between the two. So somebody could be mayor and go to city council, somebody can go from city council and run for mayor.
Okay, so in that theory, you could do 24 years.
You could, in that theory, do forever. Because you could just go back and forth. 8 years at a shot.
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
If the job didn't wear you out by then
Have at it.
that's a better person than me.
That was that was the part I missed. I didn't see where it said you could do both.
Yeah, so it's in the ordinances under section 3-7. So you're right, but it's in the ordinances, not the charter.
Okay, alright, that's what was bugging me. Okay, I'm good then.
Is the term limit stuff that we, from March 2007 in there? I mean, in the charter or in the?
So.
It's
only the
effective,
copy-
but it's not in this copy.
Yeah, only the copy that Mr. Booth. So it's still part of our charter, it's just.
Because it was voted on, but it's
Correct.
just not right.
So the notice to the public is where we fell short, it's not in the Unicode copy.
And so I'll get Rich, I assume Rich has sent it to me, we'll get it emailed out to you all, and I'll get
Okay.
you the updated version
Thank
of this.
Are you?
I'm good. Yes, sir. I'm finished.
There was just a couple of things I want to point out today. The first is with section 2 in city boundaries. I think this is crazy. City boundaries are defined by points that can move, and I think in some cases. Is there a more modern way of attacking this, or doing this, or updating it?
That's how they do it, and I wanna say, in the weirdest way that I would ever think, we found out that the description was wrong because there have been some properties that have been annexed that were not updated in the charter. And the way we found that out was our trash hauling contract. They're the ones that knew from the legal description that there was a certain set of houses that, there was like 3 houses that were outside of what we had paid them for and what was in the charter. So we fixed that 1 year.
Could this be handled with a map?
Don't think so, because the law's gonna prefer you to rely on the legal description, which is why it looks like that.
Yeah, when it starts referencing the center of streams,
Yes.
which connect lakes, I find that obscure and confusing.
One good thing is Alligator Creek doesn't move too much.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, there's nothing to suggest there if there was. I was just wondering if we could have a map, but the state doesn't like that. The other thing that I wanna bring up with this, with section 4, I know we updated the language, and I see those changes, but it still begins with all purchasings made by the city shall be approved by the city council. And then all purchases or contracts exceeding $1 threshold established by majority vote. Kind of 2 things here. One, do we need that first line still? And was it intended for that to still be there after the vote, I guess, as far as language goes? And then, my second question about this was, has the city council established an amount yet?
They did, right after it passed, I remember they voted on it. I can't, as I'm sitting here, tell you what that amount was. Well, what's your purchasing?
It's still 10,000.
It's still, oh, it's still something.
The purchasing manual that I have a copy of, I think is 2022. I'm gonna double check, but this was I forget when this amendment was.
Well, I mean, as far as this, all purchases made by the city shall be approved by the city council. They can literally say at the beginning of the year,
Well, it may help to say city council or designee. I think is what it.
Right, but if you, like, if you do it the, beginning of the year, you could say, like, at the beginning of your fiscal year, you could say, the city council could literally go now, make a motion that, James can purchase up to his you see what I'm saying, Rich, that he has the purchasing power up to $10,000 for any needed, equipment, or that he feels sees fit, or whatever. And not have, and you, at that point, it would make that all legal there if they did that.
Joe, I think legally we've been doing that by way of the city manager's contract.
Right, that too.
That delegates authority, but, I mean, you could put it in the charter for that part. To just show that the council can designate somebody.
But like, I mean, as it reads right now, I mean, does it introduce any conflict? Or does that make sense legally?
I don't think it has a conflict. Since you brought it up, I would tell you that it can always be a little more clear.
Yeah.
So you're saying all purchases made by the city shall be approved by the city council or designee?
That's what I would suggest from what you're.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what you're talking about.
Because that, just to clarify what Rich is saying, that designee would effectively be the purchasing manual that they have to approve. So when that's rewritten, that goes before the city council for approval. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I mean, then the city council through the budget finance committee gets financials, so they see all the checks that are written. Pretty sure we would all be fired if we start spending money without them approving it.
Well, and then too, if they've got a manual that they use, that is authorized by the city council.
Yes.
So, I mean, even still, that takes that and fixes it right there. If they put out a purchasing manual to authorize it, that.
Yeah, I think it's what's Rich is saying is every year, and then with amendments throughout the year, the city council's approving, I don't know, let's call it 100 budget lines.
Right.
And then internal to how we as the city staff spend in those budget lines is governed by the purchasing manual.
And you can look in there's a typo, the word article, but you look in the ordinances under sections 340 through 354, there's the actual ordinances that talk about purchasing.
Okay. So do we think we need the designee in there, or are we scratching that? What do you?
I mean, it really is just like, interpretation of the word approved. And
Do you think that would make it clearer, Rich, if we put the or designee in there?
Yeah, I mean, it does.
That way, it doesn't cause any conflict.
Yeah, I don't think there's a conflict, but it doesn't hurt to clarify things.
Okay.
Or at least make the suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What else?
Those were the only two I was ready to bring up.
Great. And this doesn't preclude you from bringing up stuff at future meetings too, but this is a good, I mean, we spent about an hour, this is a good kind of launching part. Like I said, Jamie and I will talk, and we'll talk about just coming up with, at least for our members who weren't present, in addition to the minutes, usually it helps to have a just 2-column Excel spreadsheet that shows what the language is currently and what the proposed amendment is.
Right.
Usually it's pretty easy to figure out kind of
What it
purpose
means
is.
and what the purpose is for, yes, absolutely.
And if you want some changes to that language, we want to do that all before we start putting them into resolution format.
Okay. Alright, yeah, that sounds good.
Only thing I would say last is what, he had brought up about the yays and nays, if we wanna look at that in section 9.
So I would say, I'm not opposed to the idea, I would say that's probably do it under an ordinance as opposed to your charter.
Okay.
So it talks about what the thresholds are for a majority vote, and then I would say, when you look under the administration of government for your ordinances, that's somewhere you could do that.
Take that and set some way of counting.
Yeah, so there's under section 3.3 and 3.4, before you have your standing rules and you have resolutions, motions, and amendments, you could add a subsection E to 3.3 that required a roll call accounting in the minutes. Honestly, the council could just decide that they wanna do that without actually changing anything.
Just to make clarity, just to
Well,
make
they
it
could
clear.
just ask for it as the documentation for the minutes.
Okay.
So that would, I mean, be a good thing to bring up during the city council meeting.
That's on our city manager, if you want to bring it up.
Or if someone wanted to come to the meeting to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, but we can bring up this, I mean, you're working as a delegated authority for the city council, so, when there's committee reports, we can bring it back and let them know that it's just something to talk about. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, that's it for me.
so unless there's anything else, then the next important thing is to pick your next date.
Oh, yeah, I guess real quick, just before we close, any more comments from the public?
You've got one.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
So
Thank you, sir.
2 weeks from now would be Labor Day, so.
Look at the calendar. That'd probably be a good thing to do.
I would say 3 weeks from now, so September gets a little,
Funky.
well, only because the city council has requirements to pass their millage and budget. So then the 14th is gonna be when they have their tentative millage and budget about the hearing 6, so we can't take over this room then.
And then the 21st would be, the very next Monday would be the final or second.
So maybe what we have to do, I would say, is,
Switch days.
well, Wendy, just because we only have 2 people here, I hate recommending switching days when people are here. Maybe if you can circulate an email and hound some people if they don't answer, to find out, isn't there another day of the week where we could meet? I would say probably a Thursday.
As long as it's not a Tuesday, I'll be.
How far out are we looking?
Just, I mean, at this point for the month of September. So I would say
Yeah.
Tuesdays, the challenge gonna be, there's, not just with the city, I mean, that's when the county's gonna be dealing with their budget as well.
Rich, something funny. The Thursdays for this next month would be the same dates as August. It'd be the 10th and the 24th. We could run those again if we had to, and use that possibly tentatively. I don't know if that.
I'm good just about for any day. So.
And I'll work with Wendy too, just because the 10th and the 24th, unfortunately, I have a conflict. So you can still meet, but if you have questions for me.
Well, yeah, most of them are for you, Rich. So when would you not have a conflict here? I mean, honestly,
What you doing?
I prefer to not meet on a day that you couldn't be here. So
So probably like, I could meet on the 3rd. Unfortunately, the 10th is where Bradford County's got their meeting then.
you said the 3rd.
Actually, Jamie, why do I have down 17th as our first millage? Was that
That's probably the early,
when we were first talking about it?
yes, I believe so. I have it now on my version is one of the time, that's the date we have to advertise. That's probably maybe to the note.
Okay.
Is that a Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when that's when it'll actually be in the paper.
That's right. Well, Wendy and I will, let's shoot an email out, find your availability, so we don't pick up all night with that, and then we'll find times that work.
Sounds good.
And unless there's any other business for the commission, we can adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, I guess no more business.
All right? I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely.
It's been good.
Yeah, whoever texted me, I appreciate. I think it was.
It was me and